What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Brand New, and I'm back in the building. This time I'm back with a recap of the Bobby Brown story. Oh my god, you guys, it was such a good story. At first I was like, I saw the previews and I felt like it was good. And then once I was watching it, I did have a moment in the beginning where I was just like, okay, because I want to hear about Whitney. I want to hear about Janet. I wanted to get right to those points. I did end up going back and watching him as a child and, seeing the trauma and stuff that he dealt with and seeing him getting his solo career off the ground. I did go back and watch that, but the Whitney stuff was just so, that's what I wanted to see from his perspective. And basically, I'm just going to make a few points. First off, let's get Janet Jackson out of the way. Janet Jackson, I guess some rep of hers is stating that Bobby Brown exaggerated in the movie. Their relationship wasn't like that. I disagree. When I read Bobby Brown's book, I completely agreed with him. It seemed believable, especially the part where he said that her father didn't want her to marry somebody black. I felt like that was true because Janet didn't marry black men. And she had that baby by somebody else that was not black. I don't even know what race he is, but he was not black. Janet strikes me as the type of person that will marry other races and have, a racially ambiguous child. She strikes me as that whole family just wants to be racially ambiguous. I don't think anybody wants to be black. I think they want to be black when it's convenient for them. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. I do like Janet Jackson as an entertainer, but I question her personally. I do. I think she was raised in a fucked up household where the father dictated everything and the mother was really soft-spoken and behind the father and that type of thing. Y'all know how that was back in the day. Some shit I could never live in. But that's what I get from Janet. That's not how it went. I believe she fucked Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown, let's face it, honey, he was fine when he at first got started, when he was doing the rock with you, baby, and, Tenderoni, and that Bobby was fine as hell. I personally, people don't know this about me, I am a fan of Bobby Brown. I like his personality. I had a moment, I don't think, maybe it was like for a full year, it seemed like I would come home from work and listen to Bobby Brown. It was just Tenderoni, Rock With You, like all those old songs from him. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, this is Bob, And I was shocked when he was with New Edition because growing up and hearing those songs, you don't be knowing the history. And the New Edition story, that was really good too. I like this one probably better because this is focused on Bobby, and Bobby is my favorite of them, him and Ralph. Shout out to Ralph with his fine ass. That Ralph, honey, is a looker. But yeah, I like Bobby, his personality, I feel like he's real. Even though he's arrogant and over the top, he's a fucking rock star. I fuck with Bobby. I fuck with Whitney in the same way. I love Whitney too. I don't give a fuck about what drugs she did. I love her voice. She is one of the best singers I feel like we have ever had. I love their chemistry together. Shout out to the actors that play Bobby and Whitney in this Bobby Brown biopic because I just feel like they really did embody them. They really did. Did y'all see that one moment in the store? They was in some store and they was shooting the reality show, the Being Bobby Brown show or whatever. Whitney was on there and she had on like all white and they were doing a little dance and shit. I saw that on Instagram. I saw the people that were playing Bobby and Whitney and then real life Bobby and Whitney. And I was looking at both of them. I was like, damn, they had it down packed. But it just showed the silliness of their relationship. Basically, let's get all down to it. When it came to Whitney, a lot of people in the public wanted Whitney to be this princess. Whitney was from Newark, New Jersey. Her mother raised her, to be a Christian and stuff. And But Whitney, I believe, I don't believe she was as close with her mother. Her mother strikes me as a do what I tell you to do, and I'm not really trying to get. And a lot of parents have this problem, and that's why their children come out the way that they do. When you don't really try to get to know your child for who your child is. I think Cissy Houston liked that, Whitney could sing and she's the one that trained her. I think she liked all of that. I'm not saying she should be okay with the drug use and Bobby Brown. I'm not saying that. It's just that it looked like Whitney escaped into that. Do you see what I'm saying? It was like her shadow side. And it was a shadow side that was never going to be accepted because it was always being a Christian. You got to be married and this has to be this. And when I look at some of Whitney's interviews, she's always saying, hey, I was looking for my young womanhood. I was always on the road in my 20s. I finally she got married at 28. And then, she says, I just want to party and live life. I don't want to be this princess. I don't want to be in this box. And I think that the fact that everybody pressured her into being that, I think she rebelled against it even more. I think she got with Bobby Brown because she felt like she could really be herself with him because they had chemistry. I read in Bobby Brown's book, Whitney Houston was messing with Eddie Murphy at first. And Eddie was acting as if he was too good, because she smoked too much weed. He didn't like that then. And that's fine. Eddie Murphy has a right to not like women, that smoke like that. But to me, Eddie Murphy comes off as, I gotta be in control. I gotta be the one. Like, none of his women was really famous all like that, except I think he got with Tracy Edmonds, Babyface's ex-wife. I think they had got married or was together for a little bit, but, and they didn't work out. Yeah, but if you look at the women that Eddie Murphy dates, it's women he has to be in control of. And Bobby is the only one really at that time that probably could handle Whitney. People always act like, well, Bobby's not on her level. He wasn't good enough. Those people had a connection. We can't take that from them. One thing I was disappointed though in the movie is I didn't see that song that they made. We have something in common. Y'all remember that song Bobby and Whitney did together? I wish they would have put that in there. But other than that, the movie was wonderful. Bobby Brown let us know that, right before they got married, he saw Whitney doing like a line of coke. That's when he found out she did cocaine. Before that, they was just smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. It was interesting when she put out a cigarette. I think this is after they had met at the Soul Train Awards. I think that those was awards. It was some award show. Yeah, she had pulled out the same cigarettes, and Bobby was just like, damn, she smokes the same shit that I do. It's just that connection. It's like, wow, we're more alike than we are different. The public makes it look like you are this princess, and she had that beautiful princess voice, her demeanor, and out in the public. And at the time, it was very, demure and, a princess and beautiful, raised in a Christian household, parents was married, like all of the all-American girl type things. And then you got Bobby, he's from the projects, from the hood, he's the bad boy. They even had a point in the movie. I think it was towards the end where they was about to break up, and he was just like, you know what, I was always the bad boy with you, and I didn't have this image until you came along. You're the goody two-shoes. And then Whitney got to saying, well, I should have listened to my mother, and you ain't shit. She told me you ain't shit. It was just really negative, and it was sad that that they were talking like that about each other. And, it was just sad when the family broke up, because nobody wins when a family feuds. I mean, I'm just saying. But it was sad looking at Bobby, Christina, and her coming into this. And there was a part, I'm skipping around, you guys. There was a part in the movie where I had read that before, that Whitney was letting Bobbi Kristina smoke, and she had sat down with Bobby. Bobby was, at that time in and out of jail, and, alcoholic and doing all these drugs. So Bobbi Kristina, Bobby Brown was trying to talk to her, and she acted like she didn't want to pay him no mind, because she was like, well, who are you? You're not going to tell me what to do, and mom this, and, she just felt like she didn't have to listen to him, and he was like, listen, I'm still your father. Like, shit like that, I could see it happening. I definitely can see that shit happening, where Bobbi Kristina didn't want to listen, and Whitney wasn't the best parent, because she was so consumed with her drugs. She was letting her teenage daughter smoke. And then she even said that, oh, well, it's okay that she smokes. No, it's not. Come on now. Like, I disagree with that. It's a lot of people coming out stating, I think Paul Mooney and some other people saying, well, Bobby Brown needs to let Whitney Houston rest in peace. Please shut the fuck up. I love you, Paul Mooney, but shut the fuck up. This man has a right to tell his story from his perspective. Okay, everybody that did all these fucking Whitney Houston stories, you think he go sit up there, let y'all use his name and his image and his music and this, that, and the third to do these movies. But yet, when it's time for him to tell his story, he needs to just shut up and fall in line. Like, I don't understand that. They also went into Whitney Houston's relationship with the lady Robin. Y'all remember that it was suspected that they had been fucking around. They had stopped fucking around once she got with Bobby. Bobby never liked her around. They show how Bobby kicked her out. But what was really interesting is Bobby kicked her out, but in his book, he actually said, I wish that Robin and Whitney would have stayed friends, because I feel like Whitney would have still been alive if she had Robin in her life. And I'm kind of looking like, well, Bobby, you the one. And still, Whitney could have overruled him and reached out to Robin. But I believe that. I kind of look at Whitney Houston as a codependent person, kind of always needing somebody around her to sustain her, to make her feel loved. That's why she turned to the drugs and was so consumed by it. And the shit even trickling down to their daughter, and, she's doing all the same things. Then she was, doing that stuff with the guy Nick, and then Nick was her so-called brother. Whitney, is the one that let Nick stay with them before she died, and all of that. All of that was very just weird to me. And then remember Nick and Bobbi Kristina was so-called dating and got married, and it was just crazy. Bobby Brown really does feel, because it was in a movie, that Nick Gordon allegedly has something to do with killing Bobbi Kristina. He said, isn't it a coincidence we found Whitney the same way, and a bathtub we find my daughter the same way? And I'm with Bobby. I am definitely with Bobby on that. Like, the same motherfucker was around when both of these things happened, and I don't think they've charged him. He's not in prison over it. So, but yeah, I don't know. He does look like a suspect to me. And then, she had all that money. Her mother left her, and come on, it's the perfect. I even seen an interview with Bobby Brown's sister. She really think he's behind it too, because she was like, he wanted Whitney Houston's estate. She left all that money and property to her daughter and shit. So that is a reason for a motherfucker to kill you or set you up to be killed, or, like, come on, people do that shit for money. They really showed how Whitney was so consumed by the drugs that one time Bobby tried to come to the hotel room and he didn't have her drugs, and she wouldn't even let him in, and he had to find somewhere else to sleep for the night. They showed him, like, when he fell out on the floor, I guess he was making some drugs, and then she checked on him and then just took the drugs and went on, and she's just like, get up, stop playing. He ended up having a stroke and shit. It was just crazy. I was like, damn, all that shit happened. And that's when Bobby Brown, he felt like he was about to die and shit. I was just like, wow. They showed Lance Gross in here and how he ended up dying. Some guys shot him. Lance Gross, I believe, played Bobby's sister's, like, boyfriend or husband. He was either one of them. and how Bobby was there through all of that. These people was shooting at them. It was just crazy. It was just like Bobby has been through some shit. They showed where Bobby Brown, they was on some bus, and him and Whitney was with some people, and he was like hallucinating, thought she was trying to kill him with this nail file, and he pulled a gun out on her and everybody, threatened to shoot the driver, ran off the bus, almost got shot, I should say, by some older white man. Everybody's running up towards them, telling the older white man to calm down, don't shoot Bobby Brown. Whitney bust out crying. The man recognized Whitney Houston. It was just a fucking mess. I was like, damn, that's some more shit. Like, this movie was good, and then, like, he's doing the right thing by coming out with his own story, because it's like he been through a lot of shit. It's kind of inspiring, like, damn, like if he can make it out of that shit. Oh, that fine ass Mekhi Phifer, honey, played Bobby's brother Tommy. You know, like he was his manager all throughout. They really loved and cared for him. He didn't originally want to manage Bobby, but you know, he took it on, and I really liked their relationship. I liked it a lot. Bobby was also very close with his mom and his dad and his family. He's very family oriented, and I respect that. They showed that one scene where, and this is how I know they were very codependent with each other, where he went to jail. And I'm not saying you can't be sad, you know, your man is getting locked up, but, you know, she was just freaking out and acting like she couldn't live without him. And she wasn't like being rational. She was very frantic. And it was just like, wow, you really see the codependency in this relationship. As much chemistry as they had, the relationship, it wasn't healthy. They also show where he was getting ready to go out of town. Tommy is waiting on him in the car. Whitney's trying to rush him out of the house. And he just acted like he didn't want to leave. And then he finally left, and then, you know, went to look like he was leaving, then came back in and discovered her with some other man. Supposedly, Whitney cheated with Tupac. I didn't know if that was fucking Ray J. He kind of had Ray J's big eyes, so I don't know who the fuck that dude was. But yeah, Bobby wanted us to know that Whitney cheated too. Do I believe that? Probably. Like, if it had, I believe that it probably did happen. I don't see why he would lie about that. He was out cheating too, and it was fucked up that before they got together, no, they was together, and she found out that she was pregnant, and then I believe the girl Kim was pregnant too, because Bobby, when he was at the girl's house, you know, watching their baby, and the girl came in, and she knew, and that's how women are, though. They do that nasty shit. She knew he was with Whitney. He was like, I'm with Whitney. She was kissing on him. Then they end up having sex, and next thing you know, she's pregnant. Whitney's pregnant. Whitney ended up losing her baby. Craziness. That right there kind of showed me that, and I'm not saying people can't change, but it was definitely a red flag for Whitney Houston, you know, that he not only fucked this girl, but got her pregnant the same time that he got you pregnant. Like, that's a blow. That was, you know, that shows his character right then. There also is a part in here where Whitney Houston, after he had that stroke, and, you know, he was in a hospital, I should say, and she was saying that, you know, they need to get better. They need to be better parents to Chrissy. They need to stop the drugs, stop everything. And then once Bobby Brown got better, and I believe he went off to rehab and, you know, stopped messing with it, Whitney wanted to continue. Like, she never wanted to really stop. I believe that. I know a lot of people, they don't really want to believe that. They just want to believe that Bobby was, you know, the one that got her hooked on it, and Bobby did it, and Bobby. No. I'm going to say this about life. And a lot of people may say this is not a fair statement to make, but I'm going to just say this about life. We can look at where Bobby is at right now and look at where Whitney Houston is at. And I do think that guy, Nick, I don't know. I don't know. He may have had something to do, allegedly, with her death, because he was around. Then he was around for Chrissy. He may have had something to do with it, but she was on Oprah. And I remember the interview because it was such a wonderful interview. And she, was stating that, they both was on drugs and shit got really fucked up with them and he was cheating and, just doing too much for her. She never admitted to cheating. I think she denied that, which I do believe she would, because I can't see her just putting up with that. I see Whitney, I was looking at her interviews. Whitney didn't fucking play. Whitney is my bitch, okay? I love me some Whitney Houston. Right, wrong, and different. I fuck with Whitney. I just love Whitney. She is so motherfucking real to me. We don't have no singers that act the way she do that with that I don't give a fuck attitude. She got motherfucking Wendy Williams together. Y'all need to check out that classic interview. She didn't fuck around. But yeah, it was very much so put in this story that, Whitney is the one that didn't want to let go of the drugs. Do I believe Bobby was probably still doing it too? Yeah, but probably not as heavy as her. I think it began to click with Bobby that I need to get better. Because Bobby was the one that kept landing himself in jail. And then they showed the one part where he had put his money with hers. And I'm looking like, Bobby, you added your money to hers. And then you got mad that all the money that's with Whitney's is hers now. And, she's hiring all these people. You ain't getting no money out of that. And that's why he had to do the reality show to maintain his own celebrity and identity. Get his money back rolling again. Get out doing some shows. Remember he did Thin Line with Martin Lawrence. They brought that up too. And I love that movie. Shout out to Martin Lawrence. How you doing? I love Martin, y'all. But, yeah, they showed all that. They also showed him, breaking up with Whitney. And, y'all remember that scene where they both resented each other for all the shit that they both put each other through, and how Bobby was just Whitney's husband. He never really liked that, and he was a star in his own right. And he is. He'll never be as big as Whitney is, because Whitney can appeal to everybody. Whereas Bobby appeals, let's be honest, mainly to the black community, and that's fine. Shit, we love you, Bobby. We love both of y'all. But it is what it is. Do I think he was jealous of her? Yes. A lot of men are jealous of women that are more famous and successful than them. But I do feel that Bobby Brown was definitely a star in his own right. Hell, he was out before Whitney, technically. So, but yeah, I do think it was some jealousy there. So let's get to this lady, Alicia, who was all throughout the movie with Bobby while he was with Whitney, giving him advice. This is his new wife now. She seems so sweet. I love the actress that played her. I felt like she did a wonderful job. I really liked her and Bobby's chemistry. But she started out being his manager because that's what he wanted. And then he began pulling fuck shit with her, being late, showing up drunk. And she checked his ass listen, if you trying to be with me, I'm not Whitney. I'm not putting up with this shit. Because they had a scene where he found out Whitney served him with divorce papers and it really hurt him. He admitted he was still in love with her, but, he knew that he had to move on. Their relationship was toxic. He went through a lot of shit with that woman, Alicia, got her pregnant. Then they ended up getting married. I remember, though, in the book, he really was trying to say that Whitney still wanted him. Even when he was with Alicia, and I kind of believe that because I feel like Whitney is very codependent, and even though she knew Bobby wasn't good for her, and she wasn't good for him either because of not because they're not good people, they're wonderful people, it's just their addictions. And the woman Alicia don't have the addiction problem, so she's positive for Bobby, whereas with Whitney, they both have substance abuse issues, and you can't mix that into a relationship and think you're going to get a healthy relationship. Look at their child and look where she ended up. Do you see what I'm saying? that young lady, Bobbi Kristina, she never had a chance because it was turmoil. It was chaotic. They was locked away in a room. I remember the guy, Tommy, who was Bobby's brother. He told the parents, because they was getting ready to lose the house. He was like, Bobby don't listen to me. Him and Whitney be locked away in that room all the time. It was like, how is Bobbi Kristina being raised? Bobbi Kristina, for a lot of her life, was being raised by nannies. Yes, Bobby and Whitney were there, but nannies was raising her because they was locked away on them drugs in their own little world. And later, in an interview, that interview Whitney did with Oprah, she stated that we did that to hide pain. I tried to hide the pain. And she was so honest in that interview. That's why I fuck with Whitney. So we see him and Alicia, they having their kids, their family. And we have this part with him and Bobbi Kristina. The last time he sees her is in LA. She's supposed to work with him on some music. He's going to get the studio. And they had a really good meeting. Father-daughter meeting. Everything went good. I'm skipping ahead too far. Let's get to Whitney, and then I'll go into Bobbi Kristina and her passing. So he found out that Whitney passed. And, you know, he's heartbroken and sad. He goes to the funeral with his children. They're all sitting there. Then they begin all this commotion about how he needs to get up, and he could sit there. The kids can't. He's like, these are my kids. So then they end up, Bobby was like, just fuck it, I'm about to leave. He walks up to Whitney's casket, kisses it, he's out. He tries to talk to Bobbi Kristina. She's making her way in. They wouldn't let him talk to his daughter. And then we had the scene with him and Chrissy. So that was it. That was when Whitney had passed. And then I believe they didn't add this in the movie because it's Bobby Brown's story. But I think that was in between the time Bobbi Kristina was doing that show on our own. Was it on Lifetime with Pat Houston and all of them? So anyways, he had that meeting with Chrissy, and then he finds out that she's passed. And he's sad because he's like, I just seen my motherfucking daughter. And then she, is on this breathing machine for like a long ass time, and he had to end up letting her go. He didn't want to let her go. He was sending her all around to get all the help that she needed. He really wanted to preserve her life, rightfully so. That's your child. And you could tell that really hurt Bobby. But this shit was so good because he went through a lot of shit. Like, it was sad. And I saw so many different reviews. They like, oh, well, it was too emotionally draining. You're watching the Bobby Brown story, bitch. What the fuck you thought you was gonna see? Sunsets and roses? Like, this is this man's life. He lost his ex-wife. He lost his fucking child. He's trying to build up a new family to block all that pain and that hurt. Like, I rock with Bobby. I love me some Bobby. Drugs, alcohol. I love his songs. I love me some Bobby. He seemed cool as fuck. Bobby can cook. Even Whitney is a testament of that. She said, Bobby can cook, honey. Bobby didn't fuck around. He got his own barbecue sauce and shit. He's still touring and doing music. I love how happy he is with Alicia. They got, 3 kids together. And I love that he started the Serenity House. I guess it's for domestic violence victims. I love that. You take your pain, honey, and you turn it into power, Bobby. And I'm about to cry. Let me calm down. Hold the lip. Hold up, girl. I'm so proud of Bobby. This is how you do it. This is how you turn shit around. Because for years, everybody tried to make it look like Bobby's this bad person. And yeah, he fucked over Whitney Houston. We ain't gonna lie about that. He did in a lot of different ways. I think he played into her insecurities about herself. I was going to do, and I still will do probably, even though I talked about a lot of it in this recap, because I did see her documentary on her life, so I may still do that. But yeah, he did a lot of fucked up shit, but he's turned it around, made it good. I believe him and Whitney did love each other, but they both had similar demons. And when you have that, you can't be together. It's too much. substance abuse and, people don't want to listen. Did y'all see towards the end of the relationship, Whitney didn't feel like she needed to listen to him. And of course she didn't respect him. He's in and out of jail. He's drunk and all of that. I'm sure that added to it. And he's cheating. But at the same time, she knew he didn't have her type money. And Whitney was like, shit, you in my house. I'm the one top billing. I'm the one paying the bill, and that's hard for any man, to deal with. It's like, it should be a partnership, so their relationship, it just wasn't going to last. It lasted as long as it could for both of them to get the lessons that they needed to move on to the next chapter, but rest in peace, Whitney Houston, Bobbi Kristina. That is my time, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It is your girl, Brand New, and I am out.